Hey everybody, ModelMan here, and in this video I want to talk about droid apps for modelers. Let's take a look. Let's flip over here to the color palette. A nice little program that runs in RGB, HSL, and HSB. If you need to match a color or know what the web number is, there you go. This will flip between the three different color modes. And if you go under here for the menu and look at the color list, let's take a look at web color name. Their hex number and the name. Quite a few of them, I think. Handy. Let's take a look at another color matcher. The last one was called Color Palette. This one's called Hobby Color. If you use Tamiya, Revell, or Humbrol paints, this is definitely a program for you. I can't wait for this guy to add testers, model masters, flow quill, and any others. I'm hoping he does. But theoretically, every single color from each of the three manufacturers mentioned is here. And if you click any one of them, like red gloss, this is the Tamiya, where Tamiya is at the bottom, which is what we're in. There's the Humbrol 19, and here's the Revell 36131. So if you need to cross-reference colors, this is awful handy. And again, once this guy adds testers, model masters, and however many others are out there, this program will rock. It does have ads. I don't think there's a paid version of it, but handy if you use those paints. Let's take a look at the scale. Let's say your model is 18 inches. And the actual, let's say it's the Enterprise is, let's say 976 feet. Scale required. Go. 1/650. Unfortunately, you can't take the model size and figure it out backwards, which is too bad. Let's say something's 68 feet across, and you need to make it at 1/24 scale. And you want that in inches. Bam, 34 inches. This also does speed, so I haven't quite figured out how to use this one. Let's see if we can do it now. Let's say it goes 10 feet. And unfortunately, you can't manually enter a number here. It looks like you got to count it out, which really sucks. Well, let's say it's 10 seconds. Let's say it's 20 seconds. Let's say 21 seconds, your model travels one. So in 21.5 seconds, your model travels 10 feet. The scale of the model is, say, a car at 125. How fast would it be going in miles per hour if it was real? 8 miles an hour. Check the math. It should be right. This is an awful little handy app here. Convert Droid. If there's a measurement you need converted to anything else, this is it. Mass, pressure, time code, viscosity, angular speed, sound levels, carbon dating, numerals, data storage, data transfer, resistance, amperage. Everything is under here. The only thing that I think sucks about this is that, let's say you're going, two things that suck. It defaults to the keyboard instead of the number pad. But let's say we're going 10 miles an hour. Knots, Mach, speed of light, feet per second. all the numbers are there right away. The bad thing is it goes straight back to the top when you return. Carbon dating. Well, that's not really relevant to models, I guess, but it is awful fun. For models, what you're probably going to be looking at is distance, area, resistance for electricity, and maybe a couple other things. The 555 timer. I haven't quite wrapped my head around this completely because it seems that a few things should be fixed, like the voltage. It should be, here in America, 128 kilohertz. That should be a fixed number. Maybe it's 110. Either way, if you go changing this here, you can either manually enter numbers, or you can drag your finger across the numbers to get different values. And they all step up in preset values, so it can take you a while to get to what you want theoretically. But you can see here, putting these resistors on changed that. And if you go here, here's 1.3 milliseconds for the flashing that you may want. Changing that number also changes the other ones, but it also changes the voltage. Or you can go here and just say, instead of 2 milliseconds, you want 2 seconds. Which usually changes the resistors to all 0, that capacitor, and the voltage there. But here's the one we really want to look at. Electro Droid. This is too freaking handy. Any modeler that uses electronics, this is the program for you. I originally got it because of the resistor codes. Let's say we've got a resistor that's orange, red, brown. It's a 320 ohm resistor. The fourth band usually does the accuracy, so it's a quality measure. In this case it's a gold one, plus or minus 5%. Let's say we found another one laying on the floor that was blue, yellow, red. It's a 6.4K resistor. Awful handy. All you do is tap the colors here and you get the numbers that come on up. And hit the menu. You can change the amount of bands. 4 is usually common, but you can go up to 6 and down to 3. So any resistor you find laying around, you know what it is here. Not only that, Ohm's law, calculators, voltage dividers, capacitor charge, enter in your numbers here, you can figure out exactly what's going on. How long will a battery last on any given amount? Writing your own PCB boards. Here you know exactly what the trace length and copper thickness is that you need. Pinouts of various cables. Let's say you just don't want a positive and a negative going into your model. You want to control several different banks of lights inside the model. Get a USB cord and a cable. Here this will tell you exactly what the pins are and what you're going to use them for, so you can co-opt them for something else. Here's something really handy though. The IC chip database. Let's browse the full database, but if you had a chip number you'd be all set. Let's go to everybody's favorite CMOS, the 4060 14-stage ripple carry binary counter divider and oscillator. Here you get a diagram of the chip, labels of everything that there is, then a list of exactly what each pin does. And that's for every CMOS on the chart. That's for every CMOS chip that's ever been made. Doesn't do Arduinos though. If you can name it, it's probably here. And if it isn't, you can add a new part to the database. Resistivity tables, comparison of gauge wires from their gauge number to their thickness, standard compared to American. If there's a circuit schematic you don't understand, here's what all the symbols mean. Dozens and dozens and dozens of them for stuff you never even heard of. And will probably never need. At most, you'll probably know 3 or 4 by the end of it. Don't know what an abbreviation is? Every single one in the alphabet. This concentrates on button cells. It'd be nice if it did regular battery cells. But even then, that's still awful handy, knowing what the power is and the size is for any given one, such as your common 2025 or 2032. Rechargeables, and all the others. Overall, Electro Droid is probably the most valuable Droid app that you can have if you're working with small electronics such as you'd use in models. All of these are awful handy. Most of them have no permissions whatsoever. Only 1 or 2 of them are ad supported. A few of them can be written to the SD card, but for the most part, one of the criteria I looked for was no permissions and free. There is a $3 paid version of Electro Droid. Maybe it's $4. The free version is pretty good. Determine for yourself if the paid version is better. The 555 timer, it'd be great if that worked for other chips as well. Once Hobby Color gets testers, Model Masters, Floqual, and any other paints you can name, that's going to be awful handy. Tamiya, Revell, and Humbrol is a good start though. Color palette, awful handy for matching colors. Dice bag, if you're a gamer, that's the app for you. No permissions whatsoever, fully customizable. 3D model viewers, scale converters, rulers. How can you go wrong? I've looked and looked for a couple months now to find every possible app that there is out there for modelers. There's paid magazines. I think Tamiya has one. There's quite a few railroad apps that I've seen out there. RC controllers, so you can run your trains from your phone. And all sorts of handy stuff. And if you see any other apps around, post them in the comments or hear it whatever forum this video may be posted at. Let everybody know. Thanks for watching. Happy modeling. See ya.